Hello, you're listening to the Charles Bonnet Syndrome podcast. My name is Shaimond, and today I'll be discussing Cognitive Appraisal Theory, which is a theory that helps us understand how our minds interpret and respond to events. I'll be discussing therapeutic techniques that can help you reframe the way you think. This could benefit anyone, but it could particularly benefit someone with CBS because with CBS, you often can't control what you see or experience, but you can control how you respond to it. Cognitive appraisal theory is a psychological framework that explains how individuals evaluate and interpret events and situations, which in turn influence their emotional responses. This theory was first proposed by psychologists Richard Lazarus and Susan Folkman in the 1980s. At its core, it suggests that our emotions are not just automatic responses to events, but are shaped by our subjective interpretations and evaluations of those events. It's like if you have yellow sunglasses on, everything looks yellow. And if you have pink sunglasses on, everything looks pink. The world is not yellow or pink. It's just the sunglasses you have on making it appear that way. I also think about a story of Nina Chesworth. She was leading a CBS support group. And Nina Chesworth is someone that has CBS herself. And she also is a volunteer for Esme's Umbrella, which is an organization in the UK that helps people with CBS. And she used to lead these CBS support groups. So I was in the CBS support group as a caregiver for someone that has CBS, and just as a supporter, I was listening in. And she said, "Tell me about the funniest CBS hallucination you've had." And that just blew my mind because I've been in several other support groups for people that have CBS and caregivers of people with CBS. And the stories that I hear are horrific. And some people do like this CBS, but many people don't. And it can turn your life upside down, and it can be frightening and annoying. And I was thinking, there's nothing good about CBS. What do you mean tell you about a funny CBS hallucination you had? And it just shocked me to hear that. But everybody went around and they all said their funniest hallucination. And then after that, I was like, wow, that is wonderful, because even if it was just for a moment, the people that had CBS were able to think about something positive instead of how frustrated they were, how scared they were. And then I realized that there is good in CBS sometimes, and it could be a fun moment or two with CBS. And that was just so brilliant. I hope she can do some more support groups, but even if she doesn't, because I know she's been very busy lately, she still supports in so many ways. She speaks. She's been in a film about CBS, and I actually interviewed her for this podcast. She's on episode 25, and I would recommend checking it out. You won't regret listening to it. Now, back to cognitive appraisal theory. Cognitive appraisal occurs in two stages: primary appraisal and secondary appraisal. In the primary appraisal stage, we assess whether an event is irrelevant, benign, positive, or stressful. This initial evaluation determines whether we perceive the situation as a threat, a challenge, or something neutral. For example, imagine you're walking in the park and you see a dog running towards you. Your primary appraisal will quickly determine whether you see the dog as friendly, benign, positive, or potentially dangerous, stressful. Once we've made our primary appraisal, we move on to the secondary appraisal stage. Here, we evaluate our ability to cope with the situation. This involves assessing our available resources, options, and potential outcomes. Continuing with our example, if you perceive the dog as a threat, your secondary appraisal might involve considering whether you can outrun the dog, find a safe place, or call for help. One of the fascinating aspects of cognitive appraisal theory is how it accounts for individual differences in emotional responses. Two people can experience the same event but appraise it differently based on their past experiences, personal traits, and current state of mind. For instance, someone who's had positive experiences with dogs might appraise the running dog as playful, while someone with a fear of dogs might see it as a threat. Cognitive appraisal theory has significant implications for understanding stress and coping mechanisms. When we perceive a situation as stressful and feel that we lack the resources to cope, we experience high levels of stress. And if we appraise a situation as manageable, we're more likely to engage in effective coping strategies. Here are some tips for applying cognitive appraisal theory in our daily lives. Mindfulness, mindful awareness. Practice mindfulness to become more aware of your automatic appraisals. By recognizing how you interpret situations, you can consciously reframe your thoughts to reduce stress. Cognitive reappraisal. Challenge negative appraisals by considering alternative perspectives. Ask yourself if there's another way to view the situation that might be less threatening or more positive. Strengthening coping resources. Build coping resources by developing problem-solving skills, seeking social support, and engaging in activities that boost your resilience. Cognitive appraisal theory offers valuable insights into the complex exchange between our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. By understanding and applying this theory, we can better navigate the challenges of life and enhance our emotional well-being. If you would like help reframing the way you think about CBS or anything, reach out to a therapist who practices cognitive restructuring techniques. Several therapies can help reframe the way you think by addressing and altering negative thought patterns. Here are some of the most effective therapies. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. CBT is one of the most widely used therapeutic approaches for reframing thoughts. It focuses on identifying and challenging cognitive distortions and replacing them with more balanced and constructive thoughts. CBT helps individuals become more aware of how their thoughts influence their emotions and behaviors, enabling them to handle life's challenges more effectively. Techniques in CBT. Cognitive restructuring. This involves identifying negative thought patterns and restructuring them into more positive and realistic ones. Socratic questioning. A technique where therapists ask guided questions to help clients explore and challenge their irrational thoughts. Thought records. These are structured exercises that help individuals track their thoughts and examine evidence for and against them, facilitating cognitive reframing. Mindfulness-based therapies. Mindfulness-based therapies, such as mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, MBCT, incorporate mindfulness practices to help individuals become more aware of their thoughts and emotions. By practicing mindfulness, individuals can learn to observe their thoughts without judgment and develop the ability to reframe negative thoughts as they arise. Acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT. ACT encourages individuals to accept their thoughts and feelings rather than fighting or feeling guilty for them. It focuses on committing to action that aligns with personal values, which can help in reframing thoughts by shifting focus from negative thinking to meaningful action. Dialectical behavior therapy, DBT. Originally developed for treating borderline personality disorder, DBT combines cognitive behavioral techniques with mindfulness strategies. It emphasizes balancing acceptance and change, helping individuals reframe their thoughts by accepting current realities while working towards change. Narrative therapy. Narrative therapy involves exploring and reshaping the stories individuals tell about their lives. By reauthoring these narratives, individuals can change their perspectives on past events and current situations, leading to a reframing of thoughts and beliefs. These therapies offer structured approaches to help individuals reframe their thinking patterns, which can lead to improved mental health and well-being. Working with a trained therapist can provide guidance and support throughout this process. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Charles Bonnet Syndrome podcast. If you enjoyed today's discussion, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review of this podcast. It helps more people find the show. If you have questions or comments for me, you can reach me at cbsyndromepodcast@gmail.com. I'll catch you on the next episode.